I'm here in Cannes with Bruno Giussani, who is the curator of TEDGlobal for many years now.
Yes.
Has seen many TED Talks, curated many TED events, but also seen them before they were TED-worthy. What makes a good TED Talk, and how bad have they become, and how can they be turned around?
Well, what makes a good TED Talk is a good idea, so it needs to be fresh and innovative and creative and also relevant and potentially impactful, right? It needs also to be sound, it needs to be solid.
It needs to have content, substance.
Yeah, it needs to have content, substance, and if you are a scientist, you need to have solid science behind you and so on. So that's kind of the basics. And then on those bricks you can build a talk, and a talk emerges from a great idea that can turn into a story that you want to share with others, that has all the classic elements of the story. So a strong argument, some personal element, element of inspiration for others, and all these pieces.
How bad have they started out? Have you had talks where you're like, this is a great person, super brilliant, they must be able to do a good talk, and then you get the talk, and how many iterations does it go through?
Oh no, with some speaker you work a little bit, and it's kind of ready. And it doesn't mean that the speaker is somebody who speaks every day or so. It just has a good story and knows how to tell a story. And with others, you need to work more, but work more in terms of helping them shape the right angle, or helping them leave the classic angle that they always use when they pitch their product or they pitch their company or they present a book, and you want to move them in a different direction to tell a different
Because the one that they tell is tired, or?
No, just because we don't do, for example, product sales and book pitches on the TED stage. Right? You want a different kind of thing. So if you write a book and the book is great and there's something fresh in there and I invite you to come and speak, I don't want you to come and speak about your book. I want to come and speak about the ideas that are in your book. So I don't even want you to mention once the book, right?
So it's a different angle.
Kind of angle.
Right.
So you need to shift the approach to something different and help them do that, and then help them shape it into a short talk, because the TED Talks are very short. They are from 3 to 18 minutes, and if you are a university professor, you are accustomed to speak for 45 minutes, and if you go to some other conferences, they still ask you to speak for 50 minutes, and I don't understand how people stand another 50 minutes talk, but it still happens sometimes.
Do you find your attention span has shrunk to 18 minutes?
No, I think that there are actually, so we do talks that are somewhere between 3 and 18, and we try to find for each talk and for each idea kind of what can be the optimal timing for that, the optimal length, so that it doesn't feel stretched out and it doesn't feel too compressed, right? So some ideas, 6 minutes, enough. You do your thing, you say your thing, you develop your argument, you show your technology, done. If you went to 12, you would have to start adding pieces that don't really belong there, flourishing and all these things. So what's the maximum impact timing? And for some it's 6 minutes, for some it's 18, because they need to create a whole arc of argument, go through different examples, make sure that they take into account criticism and all these things. So for each talk we really try to find what we feel can be the optimal timing for maximum impact.
Okay, and is there an industry that has better speakers coming from it, or is it?
No, I think it's general. It's actually pretty widespread right now.
I mean, is there a characteristic that you like? This will probably be a shoe-in good speaker.
Yeah, mostly those that don't stick to the PR book. Stay on message, never let your emotions come through. No, actually, let your emotions come. Tell your personal story. Share in an open way, right? Make yourself vulnerable on stage. The things that we try to encourage speakers not to do, for example, is not to have their notes at the bottom of the slides and read from the notes, right? We never use teleprompters at TED anyway, but that's a no-go. But even the notes, this last conference last week, we took them away completely. We try to encourage people not to stand behind the lectern, because the lectern creates a distance between you and the audience and actually protects you. And we want you to feel that you make yourself a bit vulnerable in front of somebody who's sitting there just 1 meter in front of you, and you're telling them a story, and you feel how they react. So we kind of use a little bit all these tricks to make sure that there is passion and involvement.
Break the rules.
Involvement, exactly.
When you said break the rules of the PR book, speaking of books, you have a secret book that you are never going to publish? Tell us about this book.
No, we do have advice for speakers, and it's of two folds. This advice that comes from us. So here is how you go after preparing your TED Talk, and is really mostly formal steps, right? Make sure that your slides are in this format and these kind of things. But then a couple of years ago, we started asking past speakers to give their advice and tell their own experience to future speakers. And so we compiled a series of those emails and advice into a document we send out to future speakers, so that they hear from those who have been on the same stage and come from very different fields and sectors, so they don't hear only from me or from my colleagues how you go after the different steps, how you break out of the moment of panic because, oh my God, I'm in front of this public, or how you make sure that you start preparing early enough and not just at the last minute because it's a bit too late, and so.
But that's a book you're never going to publish.
It's not a book. It's just a collection of letters from speakers to speakers.
Okay. The tips, the secret tips.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you very much, Bruno.
Thomas, thank you.